Hey everyone, you're tuned in to Secrets Behind the Stars, where the whispers turn into stories and the stories turn into the moments you can't stop talking about. Settle in, because today the entire entertainment world woke up with its heart in its throat. Word raced across sets and studios that Sıla Türkoğlu had been rushed to a private hospital after feeling suddenly unwell this morning, and the very air in the industry seemed to shift. From the first minutes, corridors were buzzing, phones wouldn't stop lighting up, and the question on every fan's lips was the same: is Sıla okay? It all began early, before the sun had fully shaken off the night. Sources close to Sıla say she'd been pushing through long days and longer nights, showing up to set with that determined smile she's famous for, shrugging off the fatigue like a pro. But today felt different. She woke up off balance, pale, and quieter than usual. Her family, who know that brave face better than anyone, didn't waste a second. They took her to a private clinic, away from the chaos, hoping to keep it discreet. Doctors ran their first rounds of checks, nurses moved with purpose, and soon enough, the once quiet corridor turned into the center of everyone's attention. A single whisper crossed the threshold and exploded online, and in minutes the entire fandom was holding its breath together. Meanwhile, something just as dramatic unfolded on another set miles away. The moment Halil Ibrahim Ceyhan heard what had happened, the energy around him changed. He was in the middle of a scene, the cameras rolling, lines flowing as effortlessly as always, but the second that name crossed the room, Sıla, he froze, listened, and made a choice. The crew watched him step aside and speak calmly to the production team. He asked for permission. He put the day's plan on hold. And he left. No grand speech, no shouting, no theatrics, just a focused, quiet rush. People on set were surprised at how quickly it happened, but no one questioned his resolve. This wasn't about schedules or contracts. This was about someone who mattered to him beyond the world of scripts and premieres, beyond red carpets and headlines. It was about that bond everyone's talked about since their first project together, the one you can't fake no matter how talented you are. Fans have always seen it in their chemistry, yes, but those who've met them behind the scenes understood it even better. There's a respect and a warmth between them that outlasts trends and projects. Within the hour, whispers from inside the hospital painted a picture of controlled urgency. Doctors had completed preliminary evaluations and decided to keep Sıla under observation out of caution. No sudden alarms, no panicked updates, just careful attention and a determination to be thorough. As those details trickled into the public conversation, social media turned into a storm of love and worry. Comments stacked up. Old photos resurfaced. Clips of their shared moments, stolen glances, friendly teases, those soft smiles, began to fill everyone's timelines. The world collectively leaned in, hoping to hear that she was resting and recovering. Halil arrived at the hospital with the same understated intensity he carried on set. Without pushing past any lines, he waited, asked, listened. People who saw him said he kept his phone in his hand the entire time, juggling calls between the production office and a few trusted friends, giving brief updates, promising he'd make anything he needed to make up and asking one question over and over: how is she? No impatience, no scenes, just a steady insistence on clarity. If the crew had been surprised by his sudden exit, they weren't shocked by the reason. They'd seen the way he speaks about her. They'd seen how their names carry warmth in each other's mouths. Inside Sıla's circle, the message that surfaced was meant to calm the rising tide of panic. This is for checkups, they said. A routine decision to be safe, not sorry. And gradually, the air shifted from frantic to hopeful. Word slipped out that she was responding well, that rest was helping, that her discharge might not be far off if all continued to go smoothly. The thought alone released a collective exhale from her fans, who had spent hours refreshing their feeds for slivers of reassurance. Outside the clinic, cameras began to gather like moths around a soft light, waiting for any movement, any sign, any statement. And yet, the story had already grown into something larger than a health update. In a world where headlines are stacked with noise, this became a reminder of something simple and real. Solidarity that doesn't need to be announced, gestures that don't need a press release. The instant Halil left his set, the commentary wrote itself. True friendship, people said. Genuine loyalty. It was the kind of moment that threads its way into your memory, not because of what was said, but because of what was done. As the day rolled on, more angles emerged and the narrative took on a rhythm. Reports pieced together a timeline. A week of mounting exhaustion for Sıla, a tight schedule, too many early mornings and late nights, an unwavering professionalism that sometimes kept her from admitting how tired she truly felt. Then the morning when everything gets quiet, your body whispers that it's had enough, and the people who love you step in before the whisper turns into a shout. Doctors examined, nurses checked, machines hummed. Observations continued, and every careful step became a measure of peace for the people waiting outside. On set, the ripple effect of Halil's decision kept unfolding. Scenes were postponed, call sheets were reshuffled, but the reaction was one of respect rather than inconvenience. Crew members exchanged a look that said everything: yes, this is right. No one wanted him anywhere else. Rumors say the production left a car on standby, ready to bring him back the moment he signaled, but he never rushed the hospital staff. He kept a respectful distance and a steady presence. At the same time, the internet was building a mosaic of memories. Fans dug up old behind-the-scenes moments that had become iconic in their corner of the world. Shared laughter between takes, those soft conversations when the camera wasn't watching, moments that felt like a window into something gentle and good. Their chemistry had always been the spark that lit up scenes, but today, that spark was a different kind of light. It was a lighthouse in a storm, guiding the fandom towards something quieter, something steady. Late in the afternoon, a voice from inside, one of those close friends everyone trusts but no one names, hinted that everything was leaning toward relief. The phrase sounded like a hug: she's resting, the tests are good, we're hopeful. And it came with one more comforting detail: if all continued as expected, she could be back home soon, wrapped in the care that matters most, far from fluorescent lights and curious eyes. The chatter didn't stop there, of course. Whenever a story touches people this deeply, it grows branches. Some asked whether this moment would spark new rumors about where the line between friendship and something more really lies. Others said what many were thinking: labels don't matter today. What matters is the presence, the tenderness, the immediate decision to choose someone's well-being over everything else. If feelings are a spectrum, they were in that hospital corridor, too, coloring each breath and glance with meaning. Those close to the situation kept the tone measured. No statement from management beyond the essentials, no dramatic press notes, no opportunistic interviews. It was quiet, almost reverent. That silence, ironically, said more than 100 quotes ever could. In that hush, you could hear the echo of everything we've watched them build together: trust, warmth, and a way of taking care of each other that doesn't need applause. And yet, the cameras waited. They always do. Photographers stood near the main exit, poised for those first post-visit images, Halil leaving with that thoughtful gaze, perhaps, or Sıla's family stepping out to take a breath. Any flicker of movement could become the photo that defined the day. But when images finally come, it's the message attached to them that will matter. That's what everyone's refreshing for, the words that tell the fandom, in no uncertain terms, that our leading lady is okay. That she's resting. That she'll be back when she's ready, with that same glow she carries into every room. By early evening, another current of conversation took hold on sets across the city. People swapped stories about the times their colleagues had shown up for them, the times the work felt secondary to the heart. Old friends of both stars murmured the same phrase again and again: this is who they are. He's steady, thoughtful, anchored; she's brave, luminous, devoted. Their bond doesn't need fireworks. It's constellations, only visible to those who look up long enough to see the bigger picture. Even practicalities began to find their place. Producers quietly reworked schedules, makeup rooms went a little calmer, and the logistics team treated the day like a delicate call sheet with one name at the top: care. Halil kept answering the same messages with warm, short replies: no dramatics, just clarity. We're okay. She's okay. Thank you. He refused to make it about himself, so the attention drifted back to where it belonged, to Sıla, to her rest, to the reality that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is slow down. And if the fandom needed one more sign to breathe, it came in the form of a soft rumor that made the rounds after sunset. A member of the hospital staff, speaking off the record, said she'd smiled, tired, but unmistakably Sıla. A small detail, yes, but in a day like this, it felt like a sunrise breaking through clouds that had overstayed their welcome. Hope warmed every corner of the conversation. Hours passed, and with them came a gentler kind of waiting. The frenzy softened into a vigil of affection. People began sharing not just worry, but gratitude, messages thanking her for the strength she brings to her roles, for the way she listens in interviews, for the kindness she shows to the people who meet her by chance. They wrote to Halil, too, acknowledging the quiet rightness of his choice, how he reminded everyone that sometimes the grand gesture is simply showing up when it counts. When the first official words arrive, they'll be simple. That's the style both of them prefer, the core, not the noise. A few lines to confirm the good news, to thank everyone for their patience, to promise that more will be said when the time is right. The rest we can fill in, because we've seen it before. The way resilience looks on her, the way steadiness looks on him, the way their paths keep intertwining, not for spectacle, but because life has a way of bringing certain people back to each other away from the spotlights. Tonight, the city keeps humming, but a softer hum. The set lights will dim, the makeup chairs will be covered, and the cameras will sleep. Somewhere behind those hospital walls, the world has narrowed to essentials. A steady heartbeat on a screen, a warm blanket, a quiet room, and a phone set to silent. Somewhere near the exit, a man checks one more time that everything is taken care of before he heads out, promising in a low voice that he'll be just a call away. And outside, beyond the lens flare and the street lamps, a fandom waits with candles of hope they lit in their own hearts. This is more than a headline. It's a small portrait of care in a place that sometimes forgets how to be gentle. If you ask anyone who watched this unfold, they'll tell you the same thing. Today, reputations gave way to reality. In that reality, Sıla Türkoğlu is surrounded by the people who won't let her carry the day alone, and Halil Ibrahim Ceyhan is the proof that in a business built on performance, the truest acts happen when no one's performing at all. As we look ahead to the moment she steps back into the light, we're reminded that some returns are quiet, and that's exactly why they're powerful. When Sıla walks out of those doors, when that first image finally appears, it won't just signal health. It will signal a circle completed, concern to care, care to rest, rest to renewal. And somewhere nearby, whether on a set or in a shadowed doorway, a certain steady presence will lift his eyes and smile, grateful that the simplest wish of the day came true. We'll be right here with every trusted update, keeping our eyes on the stories that matter and our feet planted in what's real. For now, hold that hopeful breath with us, send all the warmth you have toward her recovery, and remember what today showed us, that the brightest scenes can happen off camera. You've been watching Secrets Behind the Stars. If you want the earliest word when that good news drops, hit subscribe, share this with someone who needs the reassurance, and stay close, because the next chapter is almost here, and we'll turn the page together.